Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video.
Brilliant, just brilliant.
This week, the West Coast action heats up when the Rams meet the Seahawks in a huge divisional showdown. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. And don't miss the Broncos and Chiefs on Christmas night. It's Thursday Night Football, only on Prime Video. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift.
Woo!
Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
Here is a great topic. This is sex and aging. So I'm going to kind of set the plate here. So there are two terms that we use out in society. It's going to be lifespan and health span. And many people actually kind of think they mean the same thing, but they don't. You know, lifespan literally means how long are you going to live? Health span means, hey, how long are you going to live healthy? And I'm really a big, proponent of doing things that everyone has access to actually live healthy. And of course, those are going to be things like sleep, things like exercise, your diet, all these things are important. But of course, having a positive mental status. And I think that, intimacy plays a huge role as we get older. Just be happy inside, And one thing that people are always asking me is, how to maintain that intimacy that carries throughout the day. So sex and aging, huge topic. So, All right, I'm going to start off with a nice broad one over here. Is it possible to have a thriving sex life in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and wow, even beyond? I mean, what's beyond that? Is 80s and 90s? Okay, so is it possible?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, many couples report that sex in our older years is so much better because we've let go of like needing to look sexy and, what our bodies look like. And we just, it's kind of free, here we are. Like this, we're winning because we're just doing this thing. So a lot of the pressure is gone in those years.
So my hand shot up again. So because you get to hear all these stories and give some great tips, I'll ask a very naive question. So being consistently intimate, does that really carry on into 70s and 80s sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's just great to hear. I think that sometimes, I look at some of my patients who I love dearly or some of my relatives. I'm like, are you sure? And there's always, you're watching the Golden Globes and some actors getting picked on because they suddenly have a kid. So it is possible then, right?
It's totally possible. I mean, there are, I think, to the day we die, you might have to make accommodations. You may not be having the same way that you had it when you were 20 or 30, but yes, absolutely. It takes some care, just like any other aspect of your health. I'm glad you're not going to run at 90 the same way that you ran when you were 20.
No. So let's try to incorporate some science in here. So what actually happens physiologically when we age that changes the way like we have intimacy, we have sex?
Yes. Okay. Sir, you can probably speak to some of this.
I'll chime in.
Circulation is a big thing. And maintaining good circulation, whatever you have to do for your cardiovascular system, we need blood flow. We need blood flow for erections.
Yep.
One of the things that I think is often a good indication that there is some circulatory system going on issues is weakened erections or non-existent erections, because the circulation, the blood flow isn't actually getting to the penis.
Yeah.
So it's always a good idea, if you're having unreliable erections, if your erections aren't as hard as they used to be, to go also have your cardiovascular system evaluated.
Of course. Now, let me take that statement and kind of ask you a question and go back to a previous one, which was the orgasm gap, and let's talk about the role of these medications, the sildenafils, generic name, the Viagra's. I'm sure there's so many other ones out there. So I think they should be used wisely. I think they should be used under the care of, like you said, make sure your cardiovascular health is good. You're not taking certain medications. So all that put aside, do you see many men taking these medications to help close that orgasm gap? And is that appropriate or not appropriate? I mean, I wanted to ask that.
You mean to extend the length of an orgasm?
Exactly. To actually last longer?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I had a client who uses Viagra.
Really?
Yeah. I don't see a ton of that, and I'm not sure if it's because the people who come to me are interested in doing a different kind of work.
Okay.
People who want a quick fix.
Yeah.
And if that quick fix actually works for them, great. Don't need me. I have nothing against using those drugs. Said if they're used safely and it's fixing whatever issue you're wanting to fix, great. I personally don't see it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
And now I'm sure we're going to touch base on this, but once again, I get so excited talking to you about these topics. What for men and testosterone, is that a big topic for you?
It is. And
okay.
And one of the things that I do when I work with men and women that are, like 50 and older is, and sometimes younger as well, by the way, is to have their hormones tested and have their estrogen tested, have both people have testosterone, like do a whole panel to see where we are with all of that. Mm-hmm. And there are other health benefits to taking testosterone, to supplementing if your testosterone is low. It's not just sexual response. So,
of course. So are you teamed up with a physician or clinician of some kind to help out? And you're like, you know what? We need to test some hormones in you. I need a thyroid panel, some estrogen. So are you teamed up, or how do you do it?
My clients are all over the world.
Yeah.
I don't see people in person. Mm-hmm. So I recommend that they start with their OBGYN or their general physician even, and then go from there. See an endocrinologist if it's something that is like hugely out of balance, or a lot of people have autoimmune disorders. So they're already dealing with all of those things and are pretty intimate with what's happening in their bodies.
And I'm glad you always want to team up with the clinician, because once again, you turn on TV, there's so many commercials for men about low T and just take this. And just like when we know about the side effects of taking estrogen in women, such as clotting and other risk factors, men tend to forget that it is a hormone that you do want to be under the care of a clinician too. And you may not be a candidate, but I'm sure that plays a big part about sex and aging in general.
Yes. 100%. And with women, with women who are aging physiologically, you hear a lot about it. It's such a depressing term, but vaginal atrophy. Right. So our tissues become, when estrogen drops, our vaginal tissues, all the mucous membranes in our body become more brittle, more thinner, not as flexible. Right. So you end up with micro tears, and that's what hurts sometimes on penetration. I have a lot of women who come to me and they're like, I'm in my 50s, I'm menopausal, and all of a sudden penetration hurts terribly.
Yeah.
Really what that is often are micro tears. It also can be, now we have this wonderful thing in the last, I don't know, decade or so. It's been around a little longer, but it's gotten really popular as a total modality, which is pelvic floor physical therapy.
Oh,
And
expand. Are we
yeah,
talking about Kegels?
no, we're talking about, well, that is one exercise that a pelvic floor physical therapist can advise you to do.
Uh-huh.
Actually, there are people
Uh-huh.
who get in there, get way in there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
And work on all of the muscles and the tendons in the whole pelvic bowl,
wow.
the pelvic bowl,
Okay.
for women.
Okay.
And so there are a lot of, I had a client in particular who had a lot of, every time they had sex, an amazing couple, this amazing couple. He was an early ejaculator and she needed a very, very long time. She had to move very slowly. And the two of them were so mismatched in their timing. We had to do a lot of work around this. She had interstitial cystitis.
Oh, okay.
So she ended up going to a pelvic PT who worked on lengthening the space between her bladder and her urethra, and
Oh,
angling some of the organs in there, lengthening the tendons and the ligaments that hold your organs in place to create room,
yeah.
basically. So there's a lot that can happen with women in their whole pelvic area, right?
Yeah.
So we have the PT, we have hormones, we have topical hormones, which
Okay.
don't have the side effects.
Yeah.
We have patches which bypass the liver so that you can deliver the estrogen in a way that you're not running it through the rest of your body. We
Look
have
how smart you are. And so you're right. So when you take it orally, that it gets detoxified by the liver. That's its job. You know what I mean? But if you do, you're right. So good advice, doctor.
and then thank you. And then I swear I have in a parallel universe, I am a doctor. And then we know now that we need to counterbalance estrogen with progesterone. So there's a lot of advances in the medicine around like hormonal balance and health as we age. The other thing that's really important for women to know about, I have a common, it's not uncommon that women come to me, they're postmenopausal, and all of a sudden they discover that their clitoris is numb. That's usually how it's presented to me.
Really?
And really what that is that this is me, a lay person, trying to convey the medical information that I've read. So
I'm here. We're here. We're team.
Okay.
We're team. Okay.
So when estrogen drops, the very ends of the nerves are very, very fine, and estrogen keeps them hydrated and supple. And when estrogen drops over time, those nerve endings dry out and become more stiff and more almost like calloused.
Yeah.
They are not, and then they don't have as much feeling, right?
Okay.
They don't conduct as much sensation.
Okay.
So all of that is normal. It's really normal as we age to be able to, that we find that we're much less sensitive, that it takes longer to have an orgasm, that it's like we need more pressure, we need more aggressive stimulation. All of that is normal. So we tend to compare our sexual function and what's happening in our bodies compared to how it was when we were 20 or 30. And see the differences as being broken or being old or starting to fail. And none of that, if you just be present in the moment and practice some radical acceptance, this is what it is. And you're not broken, and you're just a sexually active older person. It's all okay, you know?
Yeah.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at amazon.com/new Alexa.
So, you know what? I want to kind of expand a little bit more on this, because I think we're both in agreement that there is definitely some physiology, hormones, and I definitely feel like, I want to convey to my residents and med students that asking about these questions to your patient is another tip to the bigger puzzle, because these hormone deficiencies can affect every organ in the body. And sometimes by having the awkward conversation with your patient, it may give you that clue.
Yes.
But I'm going to use you for what your strongest thing is, which is mindset and attitude.
Yeah.
How does our mindset and attitude affect our experience of intimacy and sex as we all get older?
Yes. There's a lot about, this, as I mentioned earlier, this can be a liberating time where you let go of all those societal norms, and narratives around aging and or around sexiness and attractability and all of the things that are supposed to be sexy in women and men. Men, in that respect, I think it's a little easier on them in society.
It is.
But so it can be liberating. It can also be really nerve-wracking, and taking care of your overall health can also help you emotionally, psychologically feel more vital, and more energetic, right? There's a little bit of a mind shift that can happen that you can, I often tell people sort of jokingly, but it's actually not a joke. Like, curate your social media feeds.
Okay.
Really start to, like, there's a lot of really great content out there about embracing your sexual self in your older years and normalizing that piece of our overall wellness, and so get rid of all of the bikini pictures, like the 20-something yogis and doing handstands on the Great Canyon. Like, just like, watch what you're consuming.
Yeah.
Watch the message and change the narrative. Change your narrative. There are a lot of books available now about sex in our older years, and not just sex, but like living a wonderful life as someone in the 70s and 80s. Like, look at Jane Fonda. Hello. So many of our heroes, Helen Mirren, there's so many beautiful, vibrant, alive, juicy, wonderful celebrities that are now really aging. It's like, okay,
on a side note, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just saw a movie that I think is going to be up your alley, and it really, everything we just talked about kind of fits in it. It's called The Substance, and it stars Demi Moore. And, growing up, I had a huge crush on Demi Moore because she's beautiful on the outside and on the inside. And anyways, she, in the movie, she portrays a very popular actress who's getting older, and she plays that age of the actress. And unfortunately, because of her age, she's losing her job, and all this kind of trickles down of all the horrible things women have to go through because they're aging, which is normal. And it comes to the point where she accepts to take a substance. So a younger version of herself literally comes out of her body, not joking. It's a horror movie, but she won a Golden Globe, and God bless it. We watched it just because she won a Golden Globe. And if you could get through the gore and everything, it hits home really well. The way men are viewed and the way women are viewed. It's a real strange conduit that they used a horror movie for it, but promise me you'll watch it. You would love it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I will watch it for sure.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I do want to make sure you've always been giving good advice, and every time we do our little segment, you have little tips people need to do and stuff to do. So, my last question about the whole sex and aging thing is, what is your best advice for creating that vibe, that sexy vibe, in elderhood?
Yeah. I think, the first thing is radical acceptance.
Okay. And how, when you say radical acceptance, is it more than just saying, I am 71? How do you do radical acceptance?
Yeah, radical acceptance is, the practice of like taking a look at all your narratives about aging, about your older body, about how you live your life, about what you've achieved, what you've not achieved, your value in society, all of those things. And really stalk yourself and write down all of the crappy messages and like internal dialogue that happens, either your own internal dialogue or something that someone reflects back to you, and really write a list, a huge list, and start to really look at that list and pick out the themes and write those statements down. You might come up with 3, you might come up with 12, right? But those core ideas, those core unhealthy, unhelpful, negative beliefs or messages that you've internalized as beliefs, and write a counterbalance to each one. Write the what do you call it when you take venom? The antidote. Write the antidote. One of them, right?
Okay, no.
Like you're so wrinkled you look like a prune, wrinkles. My wrinkles are well-earned, beautiful roadmap of my history, like
nice, Lisa.
Really, so that when these things come up, you might take all of those antidotes, all those positive empowering statements, and I sound like like Richard Smalley or whatever, a sort of cliche self-help guru, but it's true. Our words create our reality. They certainly create our internal mood system and our perspective, right? So you want to be erasing or counteracting all of those negative perspectives about aging, and say those every time a negative thought comes up. You say, hang on, cancel that, and positive thing, the antidote. And you can use those antidotes as positive affirmations all the time, right?
Yeah.
Communicate about how you're feeling.
Okay.
In a relationship, if you're in a partnership, or get together with your women friends who can be real, like we need real friends, and talk about all those things and share so that you don't feel like you're alone. You're not isolating. You're not the only one dealing with this, like take your best friends out for lunch and talk about, how to, your favorite lube now,
I like it.
or your favorite vibrator now that your nerve endings aren't so sensitive. You can actually play with the higher setting on the vibrator or whatever, have the conversations. This is what we're dealing with, there was something else. I've lost the thought.
Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. We got one more topic to talk about.
Yes. This is a big thing. And I say this, it's sort of along the lines of curating your social media feed.
Yes.
Right? make a vision board or make a photo album or whatever it is that you like to do of people who are your age, who are attractive, who are inspirational,
Yeah.
who look like they take care of themselves, who still look like they're having sex somewhere.
Love you.
who are vibrant and vital and juicy and alive, and like this is the best time of our lives in some. Let's not die slowly. Let's go out with a bang. Let's live in this era. That's a mindset, Yes, my knees hurt. Great. Maybe I'll have them fixed if they get bad enough. But until then, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to take the glucosamine and continue to hike. It's like we're here. We're letting life. I often say to my clients, like, let life penetrate you through your five senses.
Oh, I like the play on words right there. The penetrate, and you're also kind of like the sex therapy. I love that. That was great.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what I mean. It's like, when we talk about arousal isn't sexual, right?
Yeah.
The wind blow and the hair on your arm stands up. That's arousal, literally, nervous system perspective.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, because you always kind of get me riled up to say something. It's I do notice that some of my idols, the people I look up to, are people who are actually older than me now, because as you get older, I realize, whether it's professionally, that I have to be the role model. It's hard to have role models as you get older, So the actor who I just love seeing on the screen, I assume he's having some great sex, Harrison Ford. I gotta tell you, man, he's Indiana Jones. He's Han Solo. I have his little Star Wars figures. He's got to be having great sex. So I think he's like,
he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
He looks great.
No, I love those tips. Those tips you gave are just great. So I'm going to do our last segment together, and I saved the spiciest one for last. We're going to talk about pornography. I think that's just a very important topic in general, and it's even hard for me to say the word, but that's going to be coming up.